Hey! Welcome to Sunny and Ratchet, your go-to spot for real talk and real laughs with your two favorite hosts who are spilling the tea, but not the wine.
Skies might be big, but the opinions are bigger. This is where you'll find your weekly dose of drama and magic, always served hot and slightly chaotic. I'm the one that likes to tell it like I see it.
And I'm the one who finds the silver lining, even if it's duct taped on.
We're just two women from the Midwest, one the ever optimist, and the other a realist, just trying to keep the train on the tracks.
So if you like gossip, world news, unsolicited advice, and good old-fashioned sarcasm, you're in the right spot.
Is this Sunny and Ratchet? Pull up a chair and let's get into it.
Hey, I'm Sunny.
I'm Ratchet.
And we're here today to talk to you about vacation.
Woohoo!
Woo-hoo! I know I could use one.
I want a permanent one, but I feel like that has a negative connotation.
Yeah, it a little bit does.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to start out by talking about our best vacation.
Best vacations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a best one that comes to mind?
My last one was probably the best vacation. We went to Florida and I saw my kids and my grands and we stayed right there on the beach and it was perfect. We'd go my husband was up every morning before sunrise and he was drinking. He doesn't drink coffee. I don't know what he was drinking. Maybe he wasn't even drinking anything because I was not getting up. But he would go up there to the balcony and he would just watch the sunrise.
Oh, I remember when I used to drink that.
But I will say watching the sunset on the beach was magic. The glass of wine and my kids around me and it was perfect.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. So going to Florida is kind of like going home?
I hate Florida. I don't hate Florida. I hate the weather in Florida.
Okay, so it's not like going home. It's just like being with your family.
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. Well, cool. My best vacation, and I've had a lot of good ones, but I think this one maybe brings up just a really good, I think, time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, we drove out to California every summer as a kid, out to the San Diego area, and then we'd spend some time in LA and we'd see family because my parents were the first generation to move away from San Diego. So going back was like going to another home for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that stopped as I got older and, older relatives passed away.
Yeah.
And, we kind of went our own ways and had our own things that we did. But so my son and I took a road trip with him when I want to say it was between his 5th and 6th grade year. So when he was maybe 11.
Mm-hmm.
I was recently divorced, but I was finally to the point where it felt like instead of just feeling sad, it felt like I was breathing and becoming me again.
Free at last.
Yes, because you can really get really, really lost in a relationship, especially when it's going down the tube and die. It's like you get lost. And so my son and we took a road trip out to San Diego. I found a place to stay. I got to visit with my aunt, who was the only person I knew of that was still there. We were pretty close to Mission Beach, which was like a favorite for me when we would go out to California. It's my favorite beach. And it was in June, so it was kind of misty and cold for California, which I loved. Yes, it was really nice. We ended up renting wetsuits to boogie board or bodyboard or whatever you would call it in the waves and stuff. And I felt accomplished because I did all the driving myself, and I had a special time with my son And like I took him to Balboa Park and I took him to Mission Beach and I took him to all these places that I saw often and got to kind of share a lot of about who I am outside of what, he knows here in Oklahoma. It was just the whole thing, I think it was like a whole mood, a whole vibe, a whole time in my life that just made it so great.
So that's beautiful. I love that. But you're telling me that you guys got into the water in California when it was already chilly.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Wetsuits, they're magic, but try pulling them off. It's like, let me tell you, that was something else. Yeah, it was great. It was really great.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
I've been to California visiting family and stuff, and I remember just watching the seals. That was magical for me.
Yeah. There was one time with my family when I was younger, like 18, and we drove up the coast of California, and that drive between, it's really more between LA and San Francisco, but that's a really nice drive. That's where I found my favorite place in the world. And I swore I was going to go back and live there someday. I'm not going to be anymore, obviously.
But someday isn't over.
Well, I know,
someday
but
isn't over. Don't lose your dreams.
The people I'm with is more important than the place. But we stopped in Morro Bay, California, and it was like this small coastal town. And I loved that place. It was so cool. In fact, later in life, I was a 4th grade teacher, and one of my students, I was sharing about how I, really enjoyed that place. And they were like, my grandpa's the mayor of Morro Bay. I was like, no, get out. And then later, there was like a class party and the parents were there and they're like, yeah, his stepmother's father was the mayor of Morro Bay. I was like, oh man, small world. Yeah, get out of town.
Just like that 6th degree of separation.
Yeah. We have a friend where I feel like it's a 6th degree of separation because I don't know how many people I know that know our
Sabrina.
Yes, I didn't know if I should say her name, but yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. Like it's crazy because in high school, she and I would wait at the bus stop together, and then later in life, she and Passion Mahogany Mama, like their daughters played sports together, and so they would hang out and go on trips and stuff together. I forget what sport it was. And then later it was
volleyball.
I wanted to say that, but then I thought no, that makes sense. And then after that stage in her life, you got to know her, become close friends. And
yeah, and I remember you telling me one day, like, you knew Sabrina, and I'm like, no, you don't.
I've known her a long time. I've known her longer than all y'all.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, okay, because you guys are completely different. You guys have different personalities. So I was surprised you guys were friends. Not surprised that you were friends because I love you both.
Like I have a pretty diverse friend group.
You do.
Yeah,
you do. Yeah. Hello.
But yeah, 7 degrees of Sabrina or less. It's like 1 degree of Sabrina at this point. Like I'm. So yeah. So do you have a worst vacation ever? Or just
yeah.
So
of course, I mean, we all know that I was a young mom and stuff. But we were in California. My ex-husband was from San Diego. So we went there and we visited his family, and then we all went to Disney World. And I had 2 littles with me, like 2 toddlers. And that was the worst experience of my life. Trying to wrangle them and keep them happy and not crying and messing with anybody else, making sure they weren't, like, I don't know. I just felt like they would be upset. They were cranky. It was hot and sticky. And I didn't want his family to be like thinking that we weren't. I was stressed.
Yeah.
It was not fun for me. That was my worst vacation. It wasn't fun.
So
Disney World with littles was not fun.
That doesn't sound fun at all. In fact, so Mr. Sunny and his kiddos, they took a trip to Disney World um, before we were married and together. And it also seemed like it was a thing, like, everybody kept talking about going to Disney World, and I was actually a little concerned that maybe my son was missing out because even I went to Disney World once as a kid, and I asked him, I was like, "How do you like, do you wanna go to Disney World someday? Like, is that a thing you would like?" And he was like, "Oh, no. It is crowded, and I would hate the no, that sounds like the worst." And I was like, "This is why you're mine."
He's totally my vibe.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's unusual, but I like it. I get it.
I can respect that 100%.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. So I was trying to think about worst vacation ever. And I mean, I've had a lot of experiences where things, seem like they've gone sideways. I think, oh, yeah, yeah. I had a vacation where my ex-husband ended up in the hospital afterwards. That's probably worst vacation ever. He, it was not good. He kinda was having really hard time.
Ooh, it sounds like karma. Sorry.
Yeah, well, his family and I were all like, "You need to go to the hospital." He did not want to, but they convinced him to go with me, and I took him to the hospital, and he was trying to downplay it, and I was like, "No, this is X, Y, and Z is what happened." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "Yeah, we really need to admit you, sir." He didn't like at all, but, you know, I don't know. Sometimes relationships are complicated, right?
Right.
Right.
I forgot to say that, but on that Disney vacation thing, at the end of it, we were flying home and we were on standby because his dad was a pilot at the
Mhm.
time. So we got little free tickets because of that, but we had to be on standby and they didn't have enough room for us all. That was, that
Oh,
was, that was harsh with littles.
yeah.
And he had to go to work the next day.
Oh, no.
So guess
For real. And that makes me think of something else, because, like, so a next, I guess, would you rather question or a would you rather question, fly somewhere or take a road trip somewhere?
is money an option?
Money is not a factor in this.
I'm going to fly.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I love a road trip.
I did too. Like it was like there's multiple kids in my family, so I have multiple children, so driving was just always less expensive.
Yeah.
So when we went cross country or whatever, we always drove.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have kids and I could just fly,
Mhm.
or my kids now that they're grown, oh, 100%. But
Mhm.
or even driving with them now would be fine. But when they were littles, put me on a plane. I don't care who's around me. You can be upset that they're crying. I'm going to be in your life for 2 hours. Shut up and sit down.
So for me, like, I think so there's things where it's obviously more practical to fly, but, you know, barring all limitations, like having limited time off or money or
Mhm.
any of those things, I love the journey. I love seeing, like, the crazy little, like, roadside stops and stuff on the way. I think one of my favorite little side stops was, like, a UFO or alien beef jerky place
Oh,
in New
nice.
Mexico, I think. Like, making my way out to California, I was like, "This is the best." Like, I love weird stuff like that and finding all those little quirky things, you know? I enjoy the journey.
I we would drive a lot,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to get comfortable. I apologize.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Um, but I remember this one time we were driving to Florida, my youngest and I, and we were almost out of gas. It was in the middle of the night, and I was in this like podunk area where there was just like nothing there, and I was like, okay, we're gonna die tonight because I'm
Oh.
gonna run out of gas. And all I kept thinking is The Hills Have Eyes. I don't know if you've seen that movie. I was like,
Oh,
this is where we're
yes.
gonna die.
Yeah, I couldn't make it through that movie. It was too awful, but
It
yeah.
was awful.
Mhm.
But it scares holy crap, that stuff scares me more than paranormal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can see people being that nasty.
Mm.
I think the spirits don't care.
Yeah, that's something else entirely. Yeah, that kind of fear.
Oh my goodness. If you could get my son, my youngest, um, all those road trips that we had to take, I was not, I have an anxiety issue in general, so I'd get lost, and I don't know why, but I thought, like, you need to be awake. You need to help me. He's like 9 years old. I don't, but I'm so stressed. I'm like, what does your phone say? Where's your phone? Why don't you have it on?
I do. So I feel like, and this is a problem when you drive through, like, if you go through New Mexico and Arizona, you hit spots where there's nothing. But I do feel like, having navigation that'll speak to you and guide you and all that kind of stuff has seriously reduced my stress because I remember the days of printing off MapQuest and me and my sister, and trying to rely on like her or somebody else to tell me when to turn, or me trying like the pressure of I got to tell them when to turn at the right spot. And then if you don't make it, especially through Dallas, that's a nightmare because it'll get so backed up you don't even know that you need to get over there.
I refuse to drive through Dallas. I will go through Arkansas. I will not go through Dallas.
I heard a coworker of mine talk about her trip down to, I think, San Antonio, and she took an alternate route that went west of it all. And I'll have to, but when she was talking about it, I thought, man, that's like, the next time I go down that way, if I'm not going to Dallas, I think I might do that. Because she said it added an hour onto her trip down there.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
So, but yeah. So, would you rather, and I feel like you've already answered this, would you rather travel with family or with friends?
When I had littles, friends. Now that they're grown, family. What about you?
Oh, man. I think that there's a good balance of both because you get that bonding when you go as a family. And I know that I really appreciated it as a kid, seeing so much. Because, like I said, we traveled to California every summer and it was a road trip, and we would travel and find those little kind of funny little spots and stuff. And, so I do like that, but I really don't like being in a car with small kids. Honestly, once my son got his license and it was like between me and Mr. Sunny and Speed Racer and the three of us splitting two cars and taking turns, that right there, that's ideal, so
yeah, I don't know, that sounds stressful to me.
Yeah,
but I don't know what's going on and why driving now has become so stressful in general for me.
Well, yeah, that makes sense now, especially that you want to fly in a plane. But I really also I like for my kids to have an experience when I travel with family, but honestly, like if it's just me and Mr. Sunny or like we're with friends, that's definitely less stressful, and I think I get more enjoyment out of it because I can relax. Whereas, kids, it's like I'm just hurting kittens in a different location.
And everybody around you is evil.
Yeah.
So you got to keep yeah, that's how I felt. I felt like I had to around my kids because I didn't trust anybody else around us.
Yeah.
And I didn't want, I stressed myself out because I was like, they're going to get kidnapped this time. They're going to run away and never find them again.
So you and I have taken some vacations together.
We have.
Yeah. And one of the things I thought about is we've gone to Broken Bow twice. Once it was you and me.
Girls trip.
Yep, girls trip. And it was like girl power because I was like pulling a trailer. We went kayaking.
She did it. She pulled
a trailer, guys. I did.
A big one.
I didn't even, have any accidents until we were trying to go home. But still, I did it.
Yeah. But even with the accidents.
Yeah, like through those windy roads and stuff. Yeah, because it's a big trailer.
We're going through that mountain area.
Yeah.
Like up to where our camping site was. Oh my gosh. I was like, this is it. This is it. Because we had that huge trailer behind us. And not that I don't trust you, but.
Yeah, and I was pulling it with a Suburban, and it was, yeah. Yeah, I was all confidence,
I
So,
admired you.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you. I
Mhm.
appreciate it. I just had fun. It was really nice. It was nice to have that girls' trip. I feel like we bonded and deepened our friendship,
Mhm.
having that trip together. And yeah, it was really nice.
Mhm.
And then we went back to Broken Bow. And what I thought would be really cool is to get like a big old cabin and we had like a group of friends. Like, so it was you, me,
Sabrina,
Sabrina, yep, Mr. Sunny Kane, um,
the pilot.
and the pilot, yeah, and our Lost Dimension friends.
Mhm.
And then another couple
Mhm.
came and it was like a grown-ups only trip.
Was it though?
Exactly. It was like, so the guys, I I I don't know if any women were doing this, but the guys were definitely like getting
I thought I overstepped a lot of.
very intoxicated. Yes, very intoxicated and talking about like it'd be fun to swing from the chandelier and
I
stuff. I'm like,
know.
guys, because I had reserved this
Yeah, it
this
was your
cabin.
name. You're responsible.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, stop. And like my husband, who was not my husband at the time, he was my boyfriend. He was sleeping in the dog bed before anybody else got there. Like he was
Was it
like,
really?
yes.
Was that the first time? Can I even talk about this? You totally. Was that the first time that you did pot?
It's the only time.
Okay.
And it was an accident.
No, it wasn't. We pushed you into this. I helped push you into this.
Okay, because I was drunk when you guys were at
Yeah, it was Marvin. I was like, yeah, it's totally fine, Sean. It's good. Just have a little bite. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it was the
I
worst.
peer
It
pressured
was
you.
the worst. I was seeing all kinds of like colors. I wasn't even sure what was going on. Like, I don't like that was not my impression of what it was to,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
And here's the thing. What was it? Like a quarter or an eighth of a cake pop?
I don't. It was like a lemon. It was good too. But it was like
I
this.
don't remember.
It was this lemon little cake thing, brownie
Mhm.
thing. I don't know. It was really good. And we had cut it in quarters, and we gave you like a half of that quarter.
Like so it's nothing. But like I've not even smoked a cigarette in my life. Like I don't do that, you know? And I think that I just, we were in the cabin and to be honest, I started drinking because the Mr. Sunny and the pilot were already there getting wasted.
As soon as I showed
And
up,
I
I was like,
was
"Oh, party started already."
yeah, yeah. I was like, you know what? I am not having fun. And I don't know if I'm gonna survive this unless I start relaxing. So I was like, they're awful. We're here, we're in the cabin, whatever. Because I don't even like have a high drinking tolerance. Like I maybe have a glass or two here and there. Like
I got a picture from the last time you drove.
what you did?
I did. The pilot
Why
sent
do you
it to
guys
me,
have to do that?
and you're just like,
What? Okay, so apparently the pilot and I are gonna have a conversation because I did not even know about
it's a
that.
it's a trusted square
Circle
thing.
of trust.
Yes.
And now it's out there for
But I'm not showing it to you guys. I'm just saying I have it. I've seen it.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Well,
Pilot.
I'm sorry. I definitely didn't make the choice to do that under the right state of mind.
No,
Yeah.
I was a bad friend.
I don't think you were the only one.
No, I
though.
wasn't. But I egged it. It was your husband, your current husband now, the one that well, same guy we're talking about. It's not a different guy, same guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, just it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
It was not okay.
And I was like, yeah, it's totally okay.
What's really crazy is like it made me sick and it was not great. And I somehow at some point texted some friends that were on the way and I don't even know how. And it was our friends from the Lost Dimension and it said, "Shame me, Jamie, I'm high."
That sounds like you.
I don't even know how it happened, but it definitely did. Like, I don't know. I don't know what. Like, I don't remember much at all. So, yeah. So, I'm definitely down to hang out with people that are doing whatever. I don't care. Live your best life. but I don't do that stuff, and now I'm even more convinced I don't wanna do that stuff ever.
Yeah.
That was really an experience, and then, um, I had to see the doctor a while later, and this is just I know I'm gonna sound stupid, but there are other people out there as stupid as me, I'm sure. But my doctor wanted to do some blood work, and she's like, "Have you fasted, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh my god, like, I have to tell you something." And Henry was there with his headphones on, because I had already had him listening to his music with his headphones on
Mhm.
because, he was young. Well, he wasn't young enough. He was at a point
No.
where he just didn't wanna be by himself. Anyway, so he was there with his headphones on, and so I talked to her. I was like, I need to tell you something." So I told her, I said, I accidentally did something on a lake trip, and I don't know if I don't know how it works. I don't know if that's gonna show up or anything." And I told her about what happened, and she was so sweet and so funny about it. She was like, "Oh, no." She said, "I mean, you're," she said, "Thank you for being honest. We're not even looking for that. Like, I would never have known if you hadn't told me, like, you're good. It's okay. Like, people have done a lot worse."
That happened to me too.
Really?
Yeah, it was, the very first time I had a brownie. I had a friend and we made the brownies. Like,
Mhm.
she made the brownies stuff, and then we made brownies together. And, we were going to a concert. It was my first concert, actually,
Mhm.
and, Nickelback, and, we had
Wait,
take
was this the same friend, did you say?
no, this was, somebody else,
Oh, okay.
not a mutual
I
friend.
was
Like, we're
just
not even
gonna
friends
say,
anymore.
oh, okay. I was gonna say, wait, this person has a reputation then.
No,
Anyways.
no.
Sorry, go ahead.
But we were getting ready to go to a concert, and so we made some brownies beforehand, and I've never done anything before. And then, so we got to the concert, and then that first one was not okay for me. Like, I thought at one point I wasn't going to be able to breathe. Like, I felt like I had to remind myself over and over again to just breathe.
Oh, wow.
So,
That
but
sounds so scary.
the vibrations from the concert, which was great, like, I felt it in my chest, which I love, but it caused a kidney stone to release. And so I went to the hospital the next day, and I had to, because it was stuck in my tube, so they had to do the lithotripsy, I think is what it's called. But I went to the ER because of this kidney stone, and I'm, like, freaking out because I had just done this brownie the night before. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're drawing blood and I'm crying right now, not only because of the pain, because I think I'm gonna go to jail.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I told them, I was like, I did a brownie last night. I'm so sorry. I promise it won't happen again. Please don't arrest me.
Oh, Lord.
And I
Yeah.
was grown. This was like, I don't
Yeah.
know, 10 years ago.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, I can see, especially because that was before it was legalized in any sense,
Here in Oklahoma.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the nurses laughed at me. They all laughed. They all laughed. There was no discretion at all. They all just busted up laughing at me.
well, so after my doctor's appointment, and then the doctor, she was really cool. I think she's good at keeping a straight face because I think she was like, "Oh, God." But I was in the car with Speed Racer, and he took his headphones off, and he's like, "So," he's like, "You did what now at the lake?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you heard that?" He's like, "Yeah, I was obviously listening the second I saw you look at me." He he turned his music off so he could listen in and pretend he wasn't. But it was, it was a good conversation of, "Hey, listen, never do that. You are not gonna like it. I didn't like it. You won't like it." Like, I don't know. There's people in the world that like it, obviously. Plenty of people that do. And I know it helps people relax, but, it
I
was a good
cannot
mo
sleep in that. I have to do a brownie. I mean, not a brownie, a gummy
Yeah.
before bed. Otherwise,
I
I
mean,
just
there are
can't.
people with cards, and it helps them, and obviously people that don't. And, it's not not everyone's gonna have the same experience as me, but, you know, as a mom, I had to be like, "It's horrible, never do it."
On that note, and this is totally off topic, I apologize, but, I was 25 years old the first time I got drunk. I
Wow.
was 25, and I just remember and my excuse to myself was, "How am I gonna tell my children," who at this point are, like, 1 through 8, not to drink if I've never drank? How can I tell them, like, "Don't do this," when I've never done it?
That was your reasoning.
That was my reasoning. So, my husband at the time was like, "Okay, we can do this, we're gonna do it at home, though." So, we
Mhm.
invited some neighbors over, and the kids went to their grandmother's, and we, I drank everything. Like, I had my first Jaeger, which was absolutely disgusting.
I love Jaeger
Oh my
because I like
gosh.
black licorice.
We are 100% opposite.
It's you know, people either love black licorice or they don't, and I do.
Um, and then, buttery nipples, because 'cause I'd had a buttery nipple before, so I was just, like, making a whole cup of buttery nipple thing, and
Mhm.
then I was just drinking that, and then I had that Jaeger, and that was it.
Mm.
I was down for the count, my head was spinning, and then I went into the bathroom, and I proceeded to vomit everywhere except for the toilet.
Mm. Oh, man. Oh, man. Now did your husband have to clean all that
He
up?
did. He did, and to this I mean, we're not married anymore, but he would be it was brought up over and over and over again, over and over.
You're like,
I
"Hey,
threw
can
up
you
in the
help out around the
shower,
house?" Hey,
I threw up
remember?
in the sink, I threw up in the corner, did I touch that toilet? No, that was pristine.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah. I think that the wildest vacation I ever had was that Broken Bow vacation that we did with the couples,
Mhm.
and, I'm surprised I didn't get more sick. I don't know if anybody did, but I bought these shirts for everybody, right, and do you
You
remember what they
did?
said?
No. I have a
It
picture of it though.
said, "Drunkest bunch of assholes this
Is
side of the lake."
Yeah.
And so I was griping later about not wanting to go to the lake with the guys again, ever. And then one of I it was I think it might have been Marty, but it was one of the other guys. They're like, "You know, you set a precedent with the shirts you bought all of us." It's like,
They took that and ran with it.
they did. They
They
did.
they were like, "Bet,
I know.
plug my beer, let's go."
I was like, "I didn't mean guy drunk. I meant girl drunk where it's cute." Okay?
You know what, though? It's not a party unless Mr. Sunny gets a little tipsy. It's not.
You're right, it's not. Yeah, he definitely brings it when he's, you know, at a party and enjoying himself
Mhm.
with beverages.
That's fun.
Mhm. So we reached out to some of our followers and viewers and, asked for some vacation stories,
Yeah.
and we did have a few that told us about it.
Alright, let's get to it.
Okay. So, our friend Jenny told us about her best and her wildest vacation. So, her best vacation, she traveled on an Alaskan cruise with her
Oh,
parents.
that's a dream of mine.
It sounds amazing. My in-laws just recently went on an Alaskan cruise, and they were showing pictures and stuff. I've heard it's beautiful, but I will only go to Alaska in the summer, being there in the winter where it's like the eternal night. Sounds This sounds beautiful to me. We can't travel to Alaska together.
I used to work in the hospital. One of the nurses told me that, the best way to experience the Northern Lights is to get high, lay on the ice, and let the lights dance for you.
Oh, wow. Now, I don't do acid, but that also sounds like a solid way to experience the Northern
Hot,
Lights.
but, you know
I mean, I'm just saying, I know that people are really drawn to lights when they do that, so maybe that's
No,
something if that's your thing, you should try it.
Alaska is definitely on my bucket list of
Mm,
places to go.
yeah. It's I could travel a lot of other places and not Alaska and be okay.
Mhm.
personally.
So what did Jenny say about her vacation to Alaska?
Just basically that was her best one.
Hmm.
So, but she gave a lot more information about her wildest vacation.
All right, let's get
They
to
went,
that.
yeah, they went to Paris. Her mother was pickpocketed. They were all peed on.
What?
I know, right? But I've been to Europe. I'm not surprised. She got her whole family kicked out of a restaurant. And then she said two guys tried to kidnap her. That's like Vegas vacation shit right there.
That's like, you should probably, I don't know. Jeez, oh my gosh, I am so sorry.
I know you got to be careful. You got to be careful, especially being an American going to Europe, and certain places. Like people, if they're gonna try something, they're gonna try it on an American
Europe?
that doesn't. Well, yeah, like so. Um, so when we lived in France for a little while, like there were some guys that were neighbors there that were talking about how, their impression from the movies is that American women are like super loose. And so like, guys tend to just kind of shoot their shot, just like put it out there and see who responds. So then, American girl going over to Europe, they're really going to try it because they think all American women are like loose. They'll run up and you might get grabbed on the ass or like Sarah, my sister had a run by ass grabbing.
She didn't
uh,
punch him?
I forget what happened because we were with my mom, so my mom obviously took care of that because my mom um so
Your mom is a badass.
she is like she really really does have a ratchet side, and so like in protection of her children she will lose her shit.
Scorched earth.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's a lot of misunderstanding, and these things happened in like bigger cities. So I don't know, maybe if we went to New York we would also be at risk for being peed on or grabbed on the ass. I don't know.
I am like, who was this again? Jenny?
Yeah.
Jenny, I need an update. Like, what happened? How did you guys get peed on?
See, I know, I feel like we need more details too. That's maybe that'll be a short we can do later.
And then what did you do in response? Like, how did this happen? What happened afterwards?
Well, Jenny's a tough lady. I'm sure she didn't let it fly. I would love to hear about it. Oh man. Well, and then we had another listener email in, Miss Lindsay, and she emailed us a pretty funny story.
Okay.
Took place in New Orleans. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of read what she said so I don't miss any details. So she says, I was in New Orleans with my best friend to see Hamilton. It was July. It was hot. It was humid. I may or may not have been a lot hungover. This is already great. It's late morning. Bestie and I are finally getting around to get food. We exited the hotel and it is already sweltering. We barely made it down the sidewalk and we hear this guy in the car hollering at us. I'm never in the mood for cat calls, so I'm totally ignoring him, but he yells, "Hey, yo, lady, tell your girl her whole ass is hanging out. I mean, it looked real good, but she probably doesn't want to be showing it all."
I know. Okay, yeah, I remember this.
You remember this? Were you there?
No, I wasn't there.
Oh, okay. So she's like, y'all, it was me. It was my Spanx ass hanging out. Thank God I was wearing Spanx, which, by the way, is the only way my thighs survive in that kind of humidity. Truth. But they were beige, so not the greatest look. Turns out my cute little backpack was making my dress ride up a little every step I took. If it was a maxi dress, I was fine. But with an almost knee-length dress, that backpack munched it right up. Ah! Oh, poor thing. I'm glad she can laugh about it. So, yeah, I don't think I've ever had a fashion mishap go quite so bad, but I've definitely like walked out of a toilet stall and like there's been like toilet paper like
Oh God, no.
yeah yeah
That's no. What?
on my shoe
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just can't. Like, I feel like I remember in high school somebody did that and they never lived it down, and it was like my worst fear after that.
yeah oh yeah if you do that in high school you don't survive or middle school oh Lord no. No, but like traveling, you're all disoriented and trying to hold all the things, and you're in like this nasty bathroom, but like you gotta go because like I'm picky if I can be. You're like walking out. Fortunately, I've had people save me by like you have a real friend if they step on that and be like, hey, I got
Or
you.
I did do this in school because I'd wear pantyhose, my dresses, and wear skirts.
Mhm.
So yeah, my dress was tucked up in there. That's yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was actually like middle school
Yeah.
because I remember I wasn't very old, but I got made fun of. But of course, we moved a lot, so it was over.
Yeah. You moved on, and it's like, and that's not a problem anymore. Well, I got to also do an interview with Shelly, who is a friend of mine. She's also my hair lady and a travel agent, and she travels all the time. In fact, it's her family's tradition that instead of getting Christmas gifts, they get to go on a trip. Because she was talking about, nobody ever remembers what they got for Christmas from one year to the next if they get stuff, but you have a whole experience. That's what they're gonna.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so that sounds really cool to me. And that's kind of how she got into the whole travel agent thing. So I asked her best vacation, and it was Ireland. And I already want to go to Ireland, but now I just want to go even more. She just talked about how nice everyone was there and how beautiful it was. So that's definitely her best recommendation. She also told me a story, and this is not on the interview that I did with her. This was after the fact, but she was telling me about a friend of hers who's in Uganda or was in Uganda, just got back, but they were doing this hike to go see the baboons, and there was a baby nearby that got scared. So baby baboon made a cry. Well, this mama baboon jumped out and bit her on the ass. They had to beat that monkey off and get it to chase it away, to get it off of her. And then, so yeah. So then she had to go to urgent care, which they didn't like. I guess they don't carry cash. They just pay stuff electronically these days. But for that, she she had to have cash. So she and all her girlfriends that got there, they were all like scraping their money together to pay for the urgent care trip. And then on top of that, she also needed vaccinations like rabies and tetanus and all of that.
Yeah.
And so then they had to scrape together more money for that. And she's telling this story, and it's like, really traumatic at the time, but it's something now that they laugh about, that she went to Africa and got bit on the butt by a baboon. So sometimes, there's a silver lining. You live through it, and you got a funny story to tell.
A funny story for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But did you die?
Yeah, exactly. That's one of my favorites, though, and it wasn't even necessarily that funny. It was just like, I can relate, and I'm low-key jealous. She traveled on a trip with a friend with a cochlear implant.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, man, if she was tired, people were being too loud, or she just didn't feel like peopling, yeah, she'd just take it off. So like they had to like tap her friend and be like, hey, come on, let's go, make sure that she was following along, because she just was like, she said it's cracking her up. It cracked me up too, this person. They're like, nope, I'm not peopling.
I love that.
I was like, especially as noisy as my house gets, I'm like, because I recently tried to use noise canceling headphones in my house, and I still can hear everyone. So
you do have a brood.
I do. But so I guess with Shelly, one thing that I really liked is she had two pieces of advice, because when I asked her if she had a worse vacation, she was like, not really. Like, I have places I wouldn't go back, but she said, she tells people, pack your patience, because something will go wrong. It's travel.
Yeah.
Like there are things that are not going to go as expected. So just be patient, go with the flow. And she is really that kind of person, which I admire because I get anxiety and I don't. And the other is she said, don't wait. She recently took her 80-year-old mother-in-law, I believe, to Italy because it was a life goal. And she was like, why didn't I go sooner? You know, she still had a great time, but she was like, I could have gone when I was younger and enjoyed this even more. And so she was like, if you want to go somewhere, don't wait. Now, she is a travel agent, so I'm sure she has a lot of resources, but she's like, if you want to go places and you want to go cheap, I got you.
Scotland, here I come.
Yes, yes.
I want you all the men in kilts and broadswords. I want the women
You're going in your hair. You're like, listen, Scotland, I have some requests, and you all better apply. Okay. Well, I think that's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, I did a few trips with my kids, but I haven't really. I mean, I think our girls' trip was one of my best. I hadn't thought about that one. I was thinking vacations, my family, kids, and I don't have any glory stories. So
we've got glory stories.
We've got glory stories. So, but yeah, no, this was fun and I enjoyed it. So everybody who's going on their vacations, have fun, enjoy. Summer's here. 4th of July is this weekend. You won't see this until after. So hope you had fun.
Yeah, yeah. Make some memories. Get a little wild. A little wild. Makes for good stories.
Makes for good stories. And we like good stories.
Yes.
So you can always reach out to us, tell us your stories about anything and everything at sunnyandratchet@gmail.com. You can follow us. You can subscribe. Please subscribe. Yeah, we're just building this community and we want you involved.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, for those of you that are watching it, if you want to tell us your best vacations or wildest vacations, please do so in the comments or email us or anything.
And we can do a part 2.
Yes.
All right. So, okay, here's to shouting into the void.
Here's to shouting into the void.